What would you say are the three biggest myths about money that you've debunked over your time of learning about money, that maybe you grew up thinking it was one way, like you were talking about loans and banks and all these different things? What are three myths about money that you've found out were not true?
Well, the first thing that I would say, I don't know if it's a myth, but I would say that the first thing everyone has to understand is what money is. And I don't mean in terms of like, in terms of wealth, but like money is just paper. It doesn't make you a good person. It doesn't make you a bad person. It's paper. And we talk about all these insecurities people have with money. I grew up being told, don't talk about money, don't worry about money, don't stress about money. Yet here I am seeing my parents work their butt off every single day. So
trying to make money.
And it doesn't make sense. How am I supposed to not worry about money? And you want me to become a doctor because you read those, if you go to those career fairs, they show you the different careers, right? And doctor is always number one, the highest income. So why am I doing this if it's because of the income instead of because I love it or do something that I love? Why not?
Or because I want to help people.
Yeah.
You want to save lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is if you understand money, you become financially educated, you're willing to talk about it. Well, now you can be financially stable doing whatever you want. And you can follow something you love and still be financially okay, because we assume that you have to have this in order to make money. You have to have this job in order to make good money. You have to have this career if you want to be financially stable. But that's a complete lie.
Yeah.
But that goes down to not us being willing to talk about money. And I talked about this in our last interview. But money is one part of our lives. And the reason why people are scared to talk about it is because we're insecure about it. And that's because we don't understand how money plays a part in our lives. It's one aspect. I say that there's four. You have to be physically healthy, mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, and then financially healthy. If you're not financially healthy, well, it can make everything else much more miserable because you can't pay your bills. But if you're financially healthy, you're rich, but you have nothing else, more money just makes you more miserable. So you need to live a holistic life and understand how money plays a part in your life. That way, the finances can have the biggest power. And then you understand that more money just amplifies who you are. It's like fire. It's like fuel. It fuels your fire. If you're a good person and you have more money, you have a tool to do more good. If you're a bad person and you have more money, you have a tool to do more bad. Yeah. Just why we need more good people with money.
Exactly.
How do we do that?
Well, yeah,
get educated.
A lot of people just say that money exposes who you really are.
Exactly.
It amplifies who you are. Right. So people can see, whether you're that good person or a bad person or whatever it might be in between. But first off, understanding what money is what you had to learn. It's kind of like this thing. What else around understanding it would you say?
So
maybe you thought it was one thing, but then you realized it was something else.
Exactly. So now that's money. The second thing is, how do you use money and value money? Because I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible, but traditionally Indian people can be very cheap. Okay? And I grew up seeing this. And what does that mean? It means that the traditional Indian house is a save-heavy culture. And I can say that because I've seen this, and I grew up in that, where you make $1 to spend 20 cents. And the traditional American culture is you make $1 to spend $2, right? And so it's a save-heavy culture. So you're spending as little money as possible to save it. Now, obviously we talked about inflation, so I'm not going to mention what that means with savings. But what I'm talking about here is you can use your money as a tool. And this is what wealthy people do, because now what do they do with their money? You use your money to buy your time back. Because what so many of us do is we're exchanging our hours for dollars. You go to work every single day and you get paid, but what are wealthy people doing? They're not working just to use their money as a way to buy hours. They're using the money to buy their time back.
Yes.
Because now you can build things and build processes and invest your money, because now you can use your money as a tool instead of as a fool. That's what I like to say. But this is where it's how do you now use your money to make your life better?
Yeah.
And you don't want to be now just buying a whole bunch of Gucci and Louis Vuitton. It's now actually improving your life. And
not to make your life look better, but to actually improve it from the inside out.
Yeah. So the simplest example would be you start a YouTube channel. We talked about buying a camera. Well, one thing that you could do is you can hire a video editor. You go on a freelance site, hire a freelance video editor, and now what are you doing? You can spend more time making more videos instead of spending all of your time editing the content. So you can focus on your time. You can hire someone to mow the lawn. You bought your time back. You can hire somebody to help get you your groceries. You buy your time back. It costs money. You have to spend money in order to do that. But you're getting something in an exchange. And now you're buying your time back so you can use your money as a tool. And you can use your money as a tool to buy your time back, or you can use your money as a tool to make you and attract you more money. That's what wealthy people do. And so you want to be able to use money in that way. The third thing would be now to really, I know I talk about this a lot, but you have to understand the difference between something that makes you money and something that loses you money.
And that's a liability, yeah.
A liability. And
what are the main liabilities that people spend on today?
The way you look, man. We have this Instagram flex culture,
yes.
right? And it is very toxic if you do not know how to use it.
And unless you're investing your money wisely and you've got excess money and you're like, okay, I want to buy some stuff to flex, cool. But
there's
if
nothing
you're not
wrong.
investing your money,
yeah.
and you're just spending it on clothes and watches and shoes,
yeah. If you
to
got,
look good,
if you got the name brand stuff, but you got no savings, you got no investments, you're doing something wrong. Your priorities are in the wrong place. What are you doing? You're making Gucci rich, you're making Louis Vuitton rich, you're making all these companies rich, but you're keeping yourself broke. When I talked about my watch, I spent $1,000 on a watch. I had no investments. I don't even know what an investment was at the time. I didn't realize I could have taken that $1,000 and invested it into a watch company and get a share of the profits. But that's what wealthy people are doing, and they understand that. And there's nothing wrong with spending money. There's nothing wrong with having luxuries. There's nothing wrong with having the nice things.
Yes.
But it's a matter of when can you actually afford it. You have to know when the right time is for you to have it, because you want to first make yourself rich and then, hey, blow. If you can afford it, do whatever you want.
Grant Cardone is always talking about how he doesn't spend money on the cash he makes to buy watches or things. He only spends money on the watches and clothes and things on the passive income.
That's great.
From his investments.
You take the earned income, you're working every single day. You take this income and you use as much of that as possible to invest into assets. The assets pay you, live off of the assets, because now those assets don't need you to go to work every single day to get paid. So if you break your leg and you can't get paid, you're not getting that earned income, but that active, the passive income from your assets still coming in. And now if that's the money you're living off of, you are free. Your earned income is just buying you more assets. And so how do you start that, right? And so this is where you have to kind of build some sort of system for yourself. And the rule that I would always say is follow something like my rule of 5. If you can't buy 5 of them, you can't afford one of them.
Yeah.
So it's, you want to buy a $1,000 phone, you want to buy a $1,000 watch. Okay, fine. Can you buy 5 of them? And if you don't have the ability to buy 5 of them, if you can't afford to do that, then you can't afford one. If you can't buy 5, you can't afford one. And then you want to create a system, like a system that automates your finances, where now you have something going on with your money that is putting your money to work no matter what. And so one of the easiest things, you can create your own, is to follow something like a 75-15-10 plan, which means that for every dollar you earn from now on, 75 cents is the maximum you can spend, 15 cents is the minimum you're investing, and 10 cents is the minimum that you're saving. Now the savings is, you want to build somewhere between 3 and 12 months worth of savings if you want to have that protection. 3 months if you don't have a lot of liability, a lot of responsibilities, you don't have all that going on, and you have a high risk tolerance. 12 months if you want to play it safe. You figure out what's right for you. After you filled your savings, you fill up the savings. You don't want to put any more money into it, because now you're just being eaten away by inflation.
Yes.
Right? The savings is not there to make you wealthy. It's there just to protect you against an emergency. Then what you do is you take the money, put it into your investments. And now you just keep investing money. Now what happens is, as you grow your income, you don't change this ratio. So if you go from $40,000 a year to $400,000 a year, you keep the same ratio, and you're still investing first, and then you keep saving your money, and then you know how much you can spend, because now what you're doing, which is what wealthy people do, is you invest before you spend. The way that the finances look for the majority of people is you make money, you pay taxes, you spend your money, and then you wonder where your money went. Well, wealthy people do, right? Wealthy people are, you make money.
Especially in California.
Yeah, $7 gas and high taxes. But what wealthy people are doing is you make money, and then depending on how you make it, either you pay taxes first or after, ideally after, because there are ways to do that legally. But you make money, and then you want to invest as much as possible, and then you spend whatever's left. So wealthy people invest and spend what's left, while the majority of people spend and invest whatever's left.
Here's one that I think a lot of people do, and I think it hurts them in a big way. How does someone not make their net worth attached to their self-worth?
That's a good one.
Meaning, how do they believe in themselves, have confidence have, love for themselves when they're not making that much. Maybe they're in a transition, maybe they lost their job, maybe they're just starting out.
Sure.
And how do they also, when they start making some cash, not tie their bank account number to their self-worth?
So when you fail at something, you don't become a failure as a person. You failed at a task. And in order to become successful at something, you have to fail at a lot of tasks. And so the first thing is you have to understand that about yourself, is that just because something didn't work, just because you failed at something does not mean that you are a failure. Maybe you failed at a task. I failed at a ton of things. I'm sure you have to. You have to screw up a lot. And that's how you find the good. So now when it comes to net worth, if you want to be completely honest, your net worth is pretty useless. It's a worthless number. It means nothing. It means less than nothing, because what is net worth? It's a paper number. If I have $1 million net worth in the stock market today, tomorrow it could be worth 400,000. It doesn't. If you are valuing your life, and even worse, if you are spending based off of your net worth, you're living a very dangerous life. And some people do this because they say, "Oh, I'm worth $1 million, so I'm going to go out and live $1 million lifestyle." You don't have $1 million. You're just worth $1 million. You don't have income coming in. You're just worth this amount of money, and so you go and borrow a ton of money and you start living this $1 million lifestyle, and then things go down, and now you're the first one to lose your shirt. So the thing that I want you to remember is, first, regarding the failure, you're not a failure. Just because you failed at a task does not mean you're a failure. It's actually a good thing you failed, because that means you're one step closer to finding that success. And then second, regarding the actual net worth number, look, this is just temporary. Everything is temporary, and you have the opportunity to build something a lot bigger. You have to have the right mindset. And if you are here in America, you're in a first world country, you have the opportunity to do that. But you have to be willing to learn and be willing to give it time. So you have to be patient, but also impatient at the same time. Patient in the sense that you have to understand that get rich quick is majority of the time a big scam. It doesn't work. It makes the people selling the get rich quick rich
and you
keeping you broke. So the first thing you have to understand is that. But then second is you want to be impatient, where it's going to fuel that drive, fuel that work ethic, fuel that discipline, and you have to be willing to keep going. If you would have told me 15 years ago or 10 years ago, hey man, you're going to be interviewing with Lewis on this show, I would never thought that's possible. I grew up being told, somebody like me can't do this. Somebody like, I remember talking to my own family members, like, you can never be a CEO of a company. Somebody like you can't do that. You have no business background. You couldn't even get into business school. And it's funny, and nowadays I'm like, well, there's a lot more value to being the owner of a company than the CEO of a company, because the CEO is working for the owner. But anything is possible. And, even if you just ignore the financial side, you can do anything you want. But you want to be a singer, you want to be an actor, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a CEO, you want to be whatever you want to do. It is possible, but you have to believe it, and you have to be willing to put in that work. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That is the truest saying that you can make, because I worked in the event planning space. I still know a lot of people in this space. I know a lot of people that manage singers, big time singers, especially in the Indian space, and some of these people are incredibly talented with no drive, no work ethic. And where are they going with their careers? They had this spike and then going down. I know these other people that are average singers, but they're putting out songs day after day after day. I mean, if you heard them sing, it's like, it's whatever. But
you can produce it well, you can make the hooks, you can write cool lyrics.
You keep improving, and they keep putting out content, and they keep improving every week. And it's like, dang, you got millions and millions and millions of views.
It's funny, man. I got a friend of mine I've had on the show, Andy Grammer, who was literally in Santa Monica busking for 4 years, 5 days a week, 4 years, playing songs for just tips on the streets.
They hustle, right?
But I think he said he wrote over 1,000 songs or something crazy like this in this 4-year period. He would sing the covers to try to get people to come around and be like, I like that song, let me give you $1. Yeah. And then he would throw in one of his own original songs to try to get people like, oh, he got his own stuff. But he did this for 4 years before he actually got something that was on the radio and then touring and all these other things. 4 years on the streets, just amazing. Working really hard. Now he's got momentum, but he's got all these skills now developing over those years to write his own songs.
And I don't think people realize what 4 years means. Because you hear 4 years, college is 4 years, high school is 4 years. But you got to remember, during those 4 years, that's a long time. You go from January, February, March, April, May, you do it again,
every day.
and again, and again, and again. Steve Harvey, I love his story because he went through the same thing. He was homeless because he was like, I'm a janitor right now. I want to be a comedian. My friend, who I grew up with, is now on TV. We both had the same dreams. I didn't want to say it. He got laughed at for his dreams, and now he's the one on TV living my dream, and I'm working as a janitor. Quit his job, moved into his car, and spent 3 years just trying to make it. Look at him, and he's on shows after shows after shows.
He's crushing it.
It's that discipline, being willing to put in the work, and just sticking with it is so hard, and that can help you in any, forget the financial side. Doing something you love, living a purposeful life, because what's important to you is not what's necessarily important to me, and what's important to someone listening to this is going to be different than me. And we all have a different passion, a different purpose, and a different mission. And so someone's going to care about climate change. Someone's going to care about world hunger. Someone's going to care about cancer in kids. Someone's going to care about breast cancer. Someone's going to care about financial education. And so we all come at this world with different experiences, different pains. And each one of those pains are going to drive our motivations. But you have to be willing to work towards it, because if you don't, who else is going to?
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to do that if you want to make that impact. From your struggles, you learn from pain. And I think that realization probably was like, money does not make you happier, but what it can do is it can make your bills a lot easier to pay. It can make vacations, it can make your life more, you can do more of the things that you love.
You have more choices, more options.
Exactly.